Hello and welcome. This is episode 73 of Three Things with Ian. It is March 14th. On today's episode, it is all things baseball, specifically statistics. Say what you want about baseball. It's not my favorite sport, but it lends itself particularly well. It's well suited to statistics and records, and we are going to talk about, I believe, 5 or 6 of the most prestigious records in baseball, and I will give you a out of 5 recommendation thoughts on if they will ever be broken. So, like I said, topic 1, 2, and 3, all things baseball in honor of America's pastime, getting back into the swing of things. So, the format is as follows. I'm going to give you a record. Sorry, itchy nose. I'm going to give you a record, talk about it a bit, and then I'll give you a prediction whether it will be broken in my lifetime. So, in the next, let's say conservatively, liberally, the next 30, 40 years. Okay? So here we go. Most career wins by a pitcher. So I guess before we start, let's put a pause button. The caveat is baseball has been around for a long time. The game has changed. It has evolved. The persons playing it have changed. Everything from training to physical appearance to the size of the bat to the arm speed to the arm strength. Everything's changed. So with this said, some records are difficult to contextualize, but I will do my best. So career wins by a pitcher. Pitchers used to pitch a lot of innings, and by proxy, they used to pitch complete games. So our number one guy is Cy Young, right? The namesake of the award himself for the best pitcher. He won 511 career games. That is a lot. The highest pitcher that you will have heard of in the modern era is Greg Maddux with 355 career wins, followed by Roger Clemens, one below him at 9. So the pitchers who have been the most prolific of the last 25 years, Greg Maddux and Roger Clemens, were still roughly 150 games away from this when they retired in their late 30s. So on the scale of will this be broken or not, I think Cy Young's record for career wins is in a league of its own, so to speak. So I give that a 1 out of 5 chance to be broken in the next 30 years. It won't be. Next up, Joe DiMaggio with his 56-game hitting streak, which to baseball outsiders like myself who never actually played at a high level, this seems quite feasible. You get 3 or 4 at-bats a game. You must make contact with enough power and precision to get on base one of those times. Getting on base either with a walk or an error does not count. It's got to be a single, double, triple, or home run. So his streak was broken. His streak was in 1941. The next couple streaks, we have Willie Keeler, number 2, in 1896. Pete Rose got to 44 games in 1978. And then we have a lot of players who have been dead for a long time. And then we had number 8, Jimmy Rollins, 38 games in 2005 to 2006. So 38 and 56 are some distance apart. But I do think that if someone gets hot and is consistent enough, obviously, I think it's possible this record could be broken. I give this a 3.5 out of 5 chance of being broken. Consecutive games played. This one is incredible just to talk about. 2,632. 2632. Cal Ripken Jr., the Iron Man himself. It took him from May 30th, 1982 to September 19th, 1998. So this was 6 years. This was 6+ years without missing one game. Number 2 is Lou Gehrig. Number 3 is Everett Scott with 1,307. If we scroll to active players, we're scrolling a long time. I mean a long time. Matt Olson at number 20 has a current streak of 620 games, which he started back in May 2nd, 2021. He has a long way to go. This is a ridiculous streak. This is a statistic that I don't want to say it doesn't matter or diminish its value. It's cool, but it's not like he did anything special, particularly in those games. Cal Ripken Jr. He just showed up and played the game. I don't know how many innings he had to play to be considered consecutive. I'm assuming he had to start and play at least a couple innings. Players aren't subbed out that much in baseball anyway. This is a crazy record. I give this, as much as I like Matt Olson, who I don't know, I don't think this is broken. I give this a 1.5 out of 5 chance of being broken in the next 30 years. That's a crazy number. Career strikeouts, though. This one's interesting. Our leader is Nolan Ryan. You may have heard of him. He's a very famous pitcher. 5,714 strikeouts. Number 2 is Randy Johnson, who famously exploded a bird by hitting it by a pitch. Look it up. He has 4,875. Roger Clemens is third. He's roughly 1,000 off the pace of our leader, Nolan Ryan. In terms of active pitchers, we have Justin Verlander and Max Scherzer, who are both pushing or above 40. And they have 3,416 and 3,407 respectively. So they are 2,000 away in their mid-40s. They're not breaking the record. Nolan Ryan, Randy Johnson, and Roger Clemens, they played a long time. They were known to pitch a lot of innings. They threw the ball hard. They avoided injury. It was the trifecta of all the factors. Career strikeouts, I give this one 2. No, it's still not going to get broken, guys. I'm sorry. 2 out of 5. That's arbitrary. Moving on to career batting average. So if we talk about hitters, to me, we talk about 2 names in the modern era. Tony Gwynn, and then I guess Ted Williams is the era before the modern era. 3.366. So 0.366. So that individual is, I believe it's Ty Cobb. For some reason that got stolen, or that got pulled out my list. So I think that's Ty Cobb. So essentially his batting average was, he consistently hit he was 1 for 3, a little above 1 for 3 for his entire career. I thought Tony Gwynn would be higher. The list has very similar numbers. So he's number 22. His average is 0.338. So although on paper he's not a huge margin away, a huge difference away from Ty Cobb. If Tony Gwynn, who's the best modern hitter, is number 22 on the list, this is tough. Also, it's career batting average, and so there's not really a good way of pulling up. There's been seasons where hitters have hit 333, 345, 350, but career, that's the kicker. So a lot of players will have a down year, or when they're growing and learning and developing, they're not hitting 350. And so I think this is a very difficult one to beat. If you think of the great hitters of our time, even really good hitters, Derek Jeter, Chipper Jones, these guys were, because of their early years and because of the totality of their tenure, they're not even at 300. So this one also, I give a 1 out of 5 chance of being broken. My next one is crazy. This shows you how much the game has changed. The stolen bases record. Rickey Henderson is alone on this at 1,406. That's crazy. People really don't steal bases anymore. Now, I know they do. Don't come at me. I know bases are stolen every day in the major leagues, but it's not something that players particularly are interested in doing. Maybe the catchers have stronger arms. Maybe there's risk-reward factors, maybe getting on base. We don't want to risk losing that person on base. I don't know the exact calculus, but players don't steal bases like they used to. In terms of current players who are potentially starting in 2025 on a starting day roster, Starling Marte, M-A-R-T-E. He is 35 years old. He has 354 stolen bases. Yes, 354 stolen bases. He is 106th on the list. This is a 0 out of 5. The game has changed and evolved. Players are just as fast, if not faster, but they don't steal bases anymore, guys. And so Rickey Henderson's record is not going to be broken in the next 200 years. Write that down. Lastly, home runs in a single season. Perhaps no other record embodies the crystallization, the coming together of steroids and strength, and the emphasis on home runs versus singles and doubles. Barry Bonds, love him or hate him, probably you don't particularly care for the guy. He seems pretty unlikable. For those seasons where he was just doing his thing, he would either strike out, walk, or hit a home run. And he hit a lot of them. 73 home runs in 2001. Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa. Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa again. Aaron Judge, though, fingers crossed. I don't want to speculate about the guy. He is a large human being. I don't know if he's using performance-enhancing drugs, PEDs. steroids. I don't know. He has not been convicted in the court of common law. He has had a 62 home run season. So essentially, if he stays healthy, gets to bat 3 or 4 times a game, over 162 games, and gets warm, gets hot, has a couple streaks, he's only 11 home runs away. This is the record that could be beaten. Giancarlo Stanton had 59 home runs in 2017. Aaron Judge had 58 home runs once again in 2024. So I think this record is eminently beatable. Do I really think that we need to hit home runs at the great cost that we seem to be doing? No, I think baseball and the home run era have probably done more damage to the sport than good. But I do think of the records that I just mentioned, which were numerous above, I do think the single season home run record could very well fall. Aaron Judge is my go-to guy. He's my DraftKings betting odds. He's who I put money on if I was betting. In the next 30 years, I mean, for him, he probably has another 5 or 6 years left in his career. He's already 30. It could very well fall. So let's briefly recap. Of the records, the ones that are not going to be beaten, Untouchable was career wins by a pitcher, consecutive games played, career strikeouts, pretty unfeasible. Stolen bases, heck no. Really, of these records, of these golden records, of the ones that people love to talk about, single season homer record could very well fall. The rest are untouchable. I don't know why baseball is such a fondness. Baseball and metrics and stats go so well together, and I don't know exactly the reason why. Maybe there's so many opportunities for things happening. You know, there's batting, there's fielding, there's errors, there's distance of a home run, there's pitch speed. There's so many numbers in baseball that I think it lends itself particularly well to just being a stat head. And as a kid, even in the mid '90s, seeing everyone wear their Florida Marlins starter jackets, it was interesting to me. I knew stats. I could tell you players and their win percentage and the stolen bases, and I knew things that I don't know how I knew, and I still have a fondness for it. I have not followed baseball recently. I think baseball needs to. I do like that they shortened their games with the pitch clock. I do think they need to play less games, and I'm in an area where the Midwest, the teams out here have not been very good as of late. I always have a fondness for the Boston Red Sox. Go Sox. Fenway Park's great. Anyway, those are just some. I was looking into MLB records, and this list came up, and then I did some research, and I wanted to share with you my findings. The game has changed and evolved so much that I think sometimes discussing certain stats is kind of a dead-end exercise, but it's still awfully fun, I think, isn't it? Just to see what's going on in the world of baseball. What Shohei Ohtani's doing, this is my last bit, by being one of the best hitters and pitchers in the league is just outstanding. I wish him all the best. I hope for an excellent season. Go Red Sox, go Tigers. Let me know what you think. I'd love to hear what you think about baseball and stats and where I'm wrong. Let me know. Take care. Bye.